Welcome, everyone, to Partner News Live. Today, we will be talking about satellite texting with Verizon. As promised last time, I will be sharing more information about the Q3 offers from Verizon. And you, Neil, will be looking at the Hans device. This probably saved Cody Ware's life in Chicago the weekend before last.
Almost certainly did. Hey, Shellie, good to see you. How are you?
I'm fine.
Hey, listen, before we proceed, let us do a quick pitch for our sponsors, Team Texas. Just a reminder that David and Kim Starr, this is David, you can see in the screen just now, both own Team Texas, the racing school in Fort Worth. And as you should know by now, they are available for you to take teams down to visit, whether it's team building, your own staff, or prospects, or long-standing customers. If you want to give them a really great day out, get in contact with Team Texas. And you can find them as well at connectus.com/team dash Texas /. Okay, you know something? Let's talk for a moment about a special anniversary. Tomorrow, Shelley, is the 50th anniversary of that historic link up in orbit over Earth, not the moon, between Soyuz and Apollo. And it was formerly known as the Apollo Soyuz Test Project. Although I think some people called it Apollo 18, don't quite know why. A major sticking point at the time because they negotiated for like 3 or 4 years. A major sticking point was the docking interface. And so we're talking about what would be happening here, as it were. And so Apollo system featured a male and a female docking part, and the Soviets had their own system also with the same kind of parts. And the way it worked was the way it worked was something like this. So if you can imagine that my daughter's hairbrush, yeah, is one part of the docking mechanism. Like in the picture you can see just now, that would be the Apollo spacecraft, and this would be the Soviet side, the Soyuz side. Yeah, neither side wanted to be the coffee cup, if you like, and so it took quite a while and several. I can hear you laughing. Um, yeah, and it took several years, and they came up with this. They came up with this, and here's an artist's image. And so neither of them had these particular parts, and so both
Oh,
sides.
wow.
Yes, what an excellent solution to come up with. It was kind of like three fingers, petals, and they linked up together. Yeah, and nobody had to be the coffee cup, as it were, and so
Right.
everything was happy. One little piece of news. This is Matt Damon here, Tom Holland, and Zendaya, who apparently doesn't have a second name. Zendaya. She's 28, but she looks like she's the same age as my teenage daughter. For goodness sake!
Wow.
And yeah, and believe it or not, they're in Scotland at the moment, shooting even more scenes for the Odyssey movie. They're shooting scenes in, and I've got a list here: Sicily, Morocco, Scotland, Iceland, and the Greek islands. And they're in Scotland right this minute, and they're shooting at this place, which is Findlater Castle.
Wow.
Yeah, now Findlater Castle up on the Moray Firth, which is toward the
Mm.
north of Scotland, it's only 800 years old,
Oh,
whereas the Odyssey is taking part 3,200 years ago. But look, it's so messed up. It might as well be 3,200 years old. But you know something? I get really confused recently. I get really confused recently because I thought the Odyssey was about to come out. Because one of the other big stars in the Odyssey is this guy, Ralph Fiennes. There are pictures all over the place of him, but it turns out there are two movies. And this movie on the right is the Odyssey, which comes out a year from now in
mhm,
July
mhm.
next year. And this one is from 28 years later. Yeah, the third and the sequels, the zombie movies, the fast moving
Yes,
zombies from Alex
yes.
Garland that restarted, the zombie genre 28 or so years ago, as it were. But yeah, it turns out I thought they were the same movies because he looks virtually the same. Uh,
Yeah, maybe they had the same Maybe they had the same makeup artist or something.
More than likely, but the fellow's certainly get for someone who's like 63, I think thereabouts. He's certainly got very very buff. There are lots of other pictures. I won't go into
Hmm.
lots of pictures where he's actually on the web where he's actually looking pretty muscly for all these movies that he's doing just now. Oh my goodness me. Hey Shelly, before we go into the further Q3 offers, the ones you've held back since last time, I just want to speak to the folk who are watching the recording on YouTube. You won't be able to see the or hear the next few pieces of information because, of course, they're all proprietary and secret. So, if you would like access to the full video, the folk are watching live right now, please get in touch at connectus.com or on our telephone number. For you that are watching live just now, I just want to remind you. Shelley, you may remember the last time you and I spoke, I said it was my intention to take the children out into the wilderness to do a little bit of
Yes.
camping, yes, in East Idaho. And so I finally did that last weekend, and I was able to use Verizon's satellite texting service. So I want to show everybody a recording that I made of using that actual texting service. So
Oh, wonderful.
let's watch that
Great.
video.
Hey everybody, I'm out here in the wilderness, the magnificent wilderness of eastern Idaho. As you can see, there's no one around for miles and miles, and of course, there is no connectivity here. So I'm here to test, just for you, Verizon's satellite messaging system. Now, the first thing I want to tell you is it only does SMS, so it will not allow any attachments. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and connect right now. So you notice in the top of my screen, I already have a little satellite icon there, and the triangle shows that I've got no connectivity to the cell tower at all. Now, one of the first things that shows up is a kind of moving petal shape, a circle, and it's asking me to orientate my phone round to a particular angle. Now, I've already tried this over the last 24 hours. The satellite's always in the same position with regard to where I am in the northwest of the US just now. And so it's obviously in geostatic or geostationary orbit because it's always on 170 magnetic for where I am just now. So in other words, it's approximately south of where I am. Now, one of the curious things is, as well as having to point toward the satellite with my phone almost horizontal, it's also asking me to do this with it, elevate it as well. So the idea is that I keep this satellite icon in the middle of the kind of flowery petal shape. Now, typically it's taking somewhere between 30 seconds to 2 minutes for it to connect. And one of the things it's always asking me to do is to hold the phone steady. So even when I'm texting, and I'll tell you about that in just a moment, there's still a smaller area, a pop-up, that's asking me to keep the satellite in the middle. So in other words, the phone has to be kept stationary. So if you happen to have a table or a log or a big stone or just want to kneel down on the ground, once you've got the phone aligned with the satellite, then you're going to stay in contact with it. Now, I haven't timed it for a very long time, but as far as I can tell, as long as I don't move the phone, as long as I keep it stationary, it will maintain that contact with the satellite all the time. Of course, the moment that I move it, I lose that connectivity. So that means that people can only SMS text me when I'm connected to the satellite. I choose when I'm connected. So if someone wants to get in touch with me via satellite, if it's urgent, they can't. What they can do is they can send a message and it waits and it waits and it waits until I connect myself next time to the satellite. Another thing I want to tell you is that with the Verizon system, it's only working with Google Message. This icon I'm showing you right now. Okay, so any other application that's handling your SMS text will not work. It's only this one that works. So again, I'm going to line it up on the satellite. I'm going to wait until I'm connected. Takes somewhere between 30 seconds and minute and a half, 2 minutes, I've noticed. But once I'm connected, it will stay connected until either I press and say, I want to finish now. I hit the small pop-up window. It says, would you like to end? I hit end. It says, confirm you wish to end, and then it disconnects from the satellite. And obviously, if I move my phone away, it'll also disconnect from the satellite. Okay. So I'm sending a text now. It's taking a moment, and the text has been sent. And I've got someone waiting at the other end to reply to me. And that person's just sent that message to say that it's been received. So even though there's a little bit of a time delay, it's not happening instantaneously, it's perfectly acceptable for carrying on an SMS text conversation via the satellite. Okay.
So, Shellie, there you are,
Yes.
texting in the wilderness with Verizon and a relatively new
Awesome.
smartphones. Yeah, isn't it one? I mean, we've known for a while. It's been a good 6 or 9 months since SOS services became available on some Pixels and Apple iPhones. But this is better because now we can use our smartphones to text our families and loved ones and say, yes, we've
Right.
arrived and everything's okay, rather than them living in an information vacuum. So I'm really impressed and happy with this service. Do you
Oh,
think,
definitely.
do you think you'll be using it too?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, anything that helps with security,
Mhm.
I'm on board.
You bet. No, no, good. I'm glad you said that. Hey, listen. I also want to talk about this issue that happened last. Actually, it was July the 6th in Chicago. I've got a couple of pictures. So here we are. Every year these days, NASCAR has been running a road
Wow.
race in Chicago, not to be confused with Formula One in Las Vegas. And you can see, they've got the hard wall on both sides, these concrete hard walls. I hope you can see my cursor moving, and people well back from the road, thank goodness. But it concerns me there's no soft wall to absorb any crashes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
so a little bit concerned, although I doubt very much they're going, 190, 195 very often. But Cody Ware was in a horrible, horrible crash on that day. I think one of the wheels came off or the brakes failed, and but he lost
Oh,
braking. He went incredible speed. I don't know what that speed was, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you some video that I managed to pull from the web, giving you just a flavor, a feel for just how fast Cody Ware was going when he crashed into, thankfully not into a wall, he crashed into a big pile of tires that were left on purpose.
oh,
But even the deceleration is frightful. And then what I've done is his life was almost certainly saved by the Hans device, which is the two wires from the shoulder harness that connects to the side of
right.
the helmet. So the last fatality, Dale Earnhardt, was in 2001. Yeah, 2001. And when he collided, the thing was his head kept going forward, and essentially it stretched all the nerves in his neck. So the Hans device allows the drivers to move their heads around, but in a frontal crash, the two wires prevent the head going very, very far forward. Hence, there've been no fatalities. And I'm pretty sure, I'm not a doctor, but I mean, I'm pretty sure that the Hans device saved Cody Ware's life. Let's watch the
Oh,
video,
definitely.
and then followed by just a short segment from one of my interviews with David Starr about safety, the soft walls, and the Hans device.
Wonderful. Great.
But I mean, that has got to make a major difference if a car impacts with either the inner wall or the outer wall. What's the difference between now and 20 years ago when that was introduced?
Man, Neil, it's interesting hearing you describe it, but the simple way for me to a soft wall, you're hitting a wall, there's foam there, so if for some reason your right front tire blows out going in a corner at 190 miles an hour,
Yes.
if that right front blows out, it usually turns the car into the wall, and that kind of almost a head-on impact into that wall. Where usually we used to years ago hit a concrete wall that doesn't budge. I mean, and that impact was hurtful. But these days now with the soft wall, and you explained what that soft wall is, it's more of a cushion now. When you hit the wall, it absorbs a lot of that energy, and it takes a lot of the it takes the G forces can be real high. It absorbs a lot of the G forces on the driver, uh, for the driver, and you can survive it. You know what I mean? It's survivable, and you don't really get any injuries from it. So man, when you talk about soft walls, and you explained it well, it's a beautiful thing in our industry that we have them at racetracks that we race at across America.
David, you mentioned the 5-point harness and how tightly it holds you in the seat. And I remember when I came and drove one of your school cars just a few weeks ago, not at the same speeds as David drives, by the way. There was someone else, as well as the instructor beside me. He was leaning through the window and pulling it very, very tight. So I felt secure. But when you're driving, you're also wearing this hands device. But I'm assuming it doesn't hold your head still. You can still move your head around, can you not? Can you describe the hands device to everybody?
Yeah, Neil, you got lots of mobility inside the race car. I mean, you're not moving around like all that, but
No.
you can still turn your head left or right or up and down when you're inside the race car and when you're all strapped in. But the Hans device sits on your shoulders, and your shoulder belts from that 5-point harness. The shoulder belts, we actually got 6 points now.
Oh, really?
But the shoulder straps hold that Hans device to your shoulders, sits on your shoulders very comfortably, and it's got a strap that hooks to the back of your helmet. And what happened was before, when Dale Earnhardt was killed, it was the impact, and I don't have all the terminology right, but basically it broke his neck. And when he broke his neck from that impact of hitting the wall, we didn't have soft walls there. We had concrete walls. It broke his neck, and now with the Hans device, that it's mandatory, you have to use it if you're racing a NASCAR. When you hit something that sudden stop, there's a lot of energy, and you got that sudden stop, something's got to give, and a lot of times your neck would extend or stretch, and it can only stretch so far, then you get into danger zone. And if Dale Earnhardt would have had the Hans device on, he'd still be with us today. That's how much it does its job. Unfortunately, I tested it before in a testing accident that I had in Milwaukee, at the Milwaukee Mile in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Throttle stuck, the gas pedal stuck, and I just locked up the brakes. I hit the wall at about 136 miles an hour because the computer told me how fast it was going, but it was that sudden stop that hurts the driver. But I had that Hans device on, and everything was impact. I did break my collarbone, my clavicle here, but it was all good. I was still alive, was able to work. But man, the Hans device, it's a life-changing safety device, it's a beautiful thing, But everything that we have, there's 5 or 6 different things that have changed since 2001, and it's just made the sport so much better. The fans that love to watch the wrecks and the fire and the sparks, you still have that. But us race car drivers, we, 99.9% of the times, we just jump out of a wrecked race car that's all tore up. We're able to race again. It's a beautiful thing.
Again, Shellie, I'm pretty sure that Cody Ware's life was saved by that hands device. So thank goodness that NASCAR makes that mandatory now. Shellie, any special plans for the next few days?
Getting through the week. For some reason, Monday and Tuesday. Once you get to Tuesday, it seems like tomorrow should be Friday.
No.
I'm not really sure why that is. Once we get to Wednesday, we're okay. So, finishing out the week and still getting ready. I have some family coming in, so I'm still getting ready for them. We're going to be doing some outdoors barbecuing, and we're going to be doing all kinds of different things. So I want to be able to be ready for them, and been cleaning up the backyard and making everything look nice. And so I'm really excited about that. That's I think that's the main thing. Oh, real exciting, like when you work on cars, I get to wash my dog. Woo! Exciting life in the Shellie. House.
Fantastic,
Big.
fantastic. Well, you know already that we've been already been doing some camping. The temperatures up here have been crazy. Quite often they've been into the 90s. Most unusual for Idaho, you
Yes.
know, up near the Canadian border. But it is what it is. But this coming weekend begins the whole season of the Men and Boys camping group going. You may remember that I'm a member of a group with my son, and so we're going out camping with just the men and boys. No women allowed this coming weekend.
No women allowed. No,
No,
this
no,
last
no.
camping trip in Idaho, were there any wildlife? Did you say, wait, do they have snakes up there? What
Yeah,
kind of
yes, there are snakes.
insect bites?
Oh, yeah.
Spiders?
Insects are not so bad here. Insects are not so bad.
Oh,
Very few mosquitoes. Very few mosquitoes compared to Texas, for example. Lots of wildlife. We see quite a. Oh, actually, when we were going with all my children last weekend, we saw two baby coyotes. Two little baby
oh,
coyotes. Yeah, lots of
wow.
wildlife on the road. So you know, I had to be careful to stop. Most of the time, I was driving
Mm,
on chip surface, not blacktop. Yeah, chip
yes.
surface roads, stone roads, as it were. So I have to be a bit careful not to go too fast so I can slow down. Lots of cabs. At the moment, and plenty of wildlife to see. Yeah, voles as well. My younger daughter loves voles,
Oh,
mice, and things like that. But
wow.
we have to keep the food, of course, inside the ice box or inside the tent to make sure the animals don't get in. Okay, but no bears, thankfully. Yeah, no bears. Elk in our particular area.
Yes.
Okay, listen, I want to thank you for being with me again, Shelley, and for doing the
Yes.
introduction.
Thank you.
Next time, we will have a Michael Lane from Samsung. He will be bringing with him his own guest, which is from a company called Ram Mount. Yeah, his name is Adam Sally, and they will both be talking about the upselling, cross-selling tablet solutions for you all. So that will be in 2 weeks' time at the same time. So please join us then. Okay? Yeah, take
Yes.
care.
Great. Wonderful.
Bye for now. Take care.
Bye bye. Have a great weekend, everyone.